They say you don't appreciate something until you no longer have it. And this cannot be any more true. That was a bit overly dramatic, but what I'm referring to is time. Now, I now have a full-time job working construction, and sometimes we pull some later hours, like 12-hour days. That's always fun. And with all this time spent working, I have a lot less free time. So what do I do in my free time? Well, I've sort of removed sleep from the equation. I've averaged maybe 5 hours in the last couple weeks, and instead, I stay up and I still waste a lot of time. But at this point, mostly it's recording videos, just not actually making them. So why don't I give you a quick rundown on what I'm actually doing actively right now. I just got back from work about an hour and a half ago. It's currently 10:30 p.m. I have to get up at about 6:30 in the morning. We're going to be doing some finishing touches on a house. That'll be fun. And I'm probably not going to get very much sleep. I've also discovered in the last little while that I'm a workaholic. Now all I need to do is turn that workaholic passion onto YouTube so I can focus on getting videos out because, oh my goodness, it has been a while. In fact, I think I'm going to make a challenge for myself here, and you guys are going to hold me to it. After this video is published, 2 weeks later on the dot, I'm going to put out another video. And 2 weeks after that, another video. I'm trying to get a chain of at least 3 videos. Now, what else have I been doing? I actually got a couple friends. That was fun. I met them for about a week, and then I traveled thousands of miles away, and now I have more long-distance friends. Woohoo! It's actually really funny, because there was a party going on that I got invited to because my coworker lost his keys to the work van that we were working in, and he lost the keys at a house that we were at, and that was... oh my goodness, that was annoying. So he called over one of his friends to help us look for the keys. And 40 minutes later, we finally find the keys. I found the keys, in fact, up on top of a fence next to what we were working on. Like, tucked out, up and over a corner, out of sight. That was so dumb. But as she was walking away towards her car to leave after we found the keys, she looks back and is like, oh, we're having a party tonight. Did you want to come over? And so I headed over that night. That was completely spontaneous. It was random. I was leaving in a week. I had planned on making no friends while I was in that area because I was only there for about a month working with some family. And then I made an oopsie. I said, yes, I'll go to the party. And I made a friend. So that sucks. We had a family reunion. Oh goodness, that was a fun family reunion. What we did is we went to a park with a whole bunch of boulders. And I love boulders. I love climbing on rocks. I love hiking. And hiking on these rocks specifically was super fun because they weren't crumbly. They were really solid. And I could run around, jump on them, climb up them, all sorts of fun stuff. I spent hours out there. But it was only like a couple days long. And then from there, I moved down into the States. I'm now in the United States somewhere. And then I got invited by some family to go hiking. A 9-hour hike, they said. But don't worry, it's on the 18th of August. So you'll have plenty of time to mentally prepare yourself for this hike. And then I'm like, oh shoot, it's literally like the 17th. I'm going hiking tomorrow. So I head over to that house, went to bed probably, I'll just say too late, and I got up way too early to the point of where I'm sure there were multiple people still up by the time I woke up for the next day. We drove for a while. At 4 a.m. we finally get to the parking lot to the hike, and we start hiking. Now there's 4 of us in line. We had Sarah in front, we had Charlotte second, I was third, and we had Jacob in the back. And due to it being 4 a.m. outside, it's actually dark out, and I didn't bring a headlamp. So the person in front, Sarah, has a headlamp, and Jacob in the back also has one. Charlotte and me, however, are out of luck. So we're starting up the mountain. It's raining just a tad bit, but it stops pretty quick after we start. And we start walking, and it gets steeper and steeper, and we're just going up, just up a hiking trail. There's multiple spots where we had to sort of play leapfrog on rocks to dodge the water streams coming down the mountainside. And because we were zigzagging, we had to pass the streams several times. And I don't actually remember most of it until it got light, just because brains are weird that way. But there was one time when there was a switchback on the trail, and we didn't realize it, so we kept going straight. And it turns into this jungle gym of roots, tree roots, that we climb up, and then it goes over to this cliff, and then underneath a waterfall. That was the point where Charlotte realized this is not the trail. I do not remember going under a waterfall because she's done this hike once before. So we turn back, we head up the trail, and we take our first break about 2 hours in. This is when it's barely starting to get light out, and I don't know if you've watched the dawn before, from pitch black to light, but it's quite the thing to see, especially up in the mountains. Now, once it starts getting lighter, people get more talkative. We're chatting back and forth, all the fun stuff. And there's this one section where there's no plants because rocks have crumbled down the side of the mountain. There's a cliff above, and it just all crumbled down. I don't know how to properly explain it. And the reason this part is important is because we're chatting about how Charlotte feels like an ant whenever she's on a mountain. And I'm talking to her about it. She's explaining how when she's up in a mountain, she feels like just one of those tiny ants. Everything is really far off, but if she keeps walking, she keeps going, she'll eventually get somewhere. And I thought, oh yeah, that's interesting. Until about 45 minutes later, when we looked back at the exact spot we were climbing on, and we saw tiny ant people, like little pinpricks. And it was kind of funny. We're like, oh, look, there's ant people, woo, and that was fun. Until about half an hour, 45 minutes later, yet again. And we look back at the same spot. And oh my goodness, I was squinting for probably 30 seconds until I finally spotted somebody because they were that far away. It's also weird climbing up a mountain where you can look down at exactly where you started and be like, how did that take 3 hours to get here? Because if you're driving in a car, you don't appreciate distance at all. But if you just hiked for 3 hours, you can appreciate it a little bit better. So we keep hiking up the mountain. We hit a giant meadow filled with flowers and all sorts of fun stuff. Once you hit the meadow, the entire hike changes. First thing we noticed was the lack of trees, of course, but then the mountain goats. There were mountain goats up there. I don't know why, but that was super cool. I didn't actually get a close-up look. We were probably at least 100 yards away, but I could hear some of the baby ones bleating in the distance. Bleating in the distance. It's like, oh no, Jimmy, I'm dying. I'm bleeding over here. No, I'm sorry. Okay, too dramatic. Continuing. That was fun. And then we keep hiking through the meadow, and flowers, like millions of flowers. There are no trees anymore. Instead, there are flowers covering the ground. I think I got a couple photos, but they weren't very good. I can put them on screen right now. I wasn't spending the most time on making good photography. There was this one cool photo on the hike up the mountain. I'll show you that one. I was actually really proud of this one right here that you're looking at. I can't see it, but you can on the screen right now. We keep hiking up the mountain, all sorts of fun stuff. Hours later, and we hit the saddle. The saddle of a mountain is like at least to my knowledge, is sort of the top. Like, it's not on a peak, but it's on the ridge, top ridge of the mountain in a low spot. And when we hit there, I didn't know what to expect. I was expecting sort of a plateau style. You know, you hit the top and there's this bunch of flat area around. I don't know why that's what I was expecting, but it was. And we hit it, and it was jaw dropping, the scenery below. I looked at houses down below, and I was thinking, what the flip is this kid looking at me? Somebody just walked in. I'm doing a commentary video. That made my heart jump. I forgot people could walk down here. Anyways, looking at houses down below, and they're smaller than some of the people I was seeing. Like thousands of feet above houses, and they don't look that significant at all. And it really puts size into perspective when you just spent 8 hours hiking up a hill. Might have only been 7, but who's counting? The thing is, at the saddle, we weren't even at the top of the mountain. We still had another hour to go. So we hiked that last hour, and Sarah was really struggling. But we eventually made it. We got a cool photo at the top, you know, a selfie, which I'm not showing here for obvious reasons. And then we started down. The hike down was pretty quick, comparatively. I think it was an hour or two faster, maybe. There was a lot that went on that hike, and, you know, 12 hours of walking, there's a lot of memories to cover, and a lot of them fade over time, which is really weird, but that's how things work. We get back from the hike. Sarah had been struggling the last little while. And I didn't realize how much pain she was in until the next morning when she was explaining to me how she took a couple painkillers when she got home. So yeah, that's fun. I kind of lost my train of thought here. I'm sure I'll find something to chat about really quick because, my goodness, what is going on? There was one moment. This is before, like, anything in this story I've talked about, but I went bald for a practical joke. And I'm not actually going to go into detail about that one because I have an entire commentary video planned out about it, which hopefully will be posted in exactly 2 weeks. I have not recorded it yet, though, so we will see how that goes. I don't even know how long this video will be, but I don't think it matters. Is there anything else? Oh, right. Editing. Oh, goodness. Editing is a hard one because I've found that I have problems editing more than one video at a time. I start one project and I just have to finish that project. I cannot start any others, and that's been holding me back. So I'm going to purposefully try to have like 6 video editing projects going on at the same time. And then maybe I can keep more on top of that. And then also at the very beginning of this commentary video, I was explaining how I gamed full-time, and what I mean by that is Ninefall Season 2. I don't like being in SMPs. They take up way too much time, but I've already committed. I'm just gonna finish up the season. It's only like 2 months long, but I don't plan on joining any other SMPs because I don't have time for it, quite frankly. Okay, bit of a random update, but since I recorded the video like 3 days ago, Ninefall has actually ended, so I now have a lot more time to sleep. And by sleep, I mean stay up really late and edit videos. I don't really have time for YouTube either, but we'll just remove sleep from the equation and we'll be fine. Sleep, who needs sleep? Let me just go insane and crazy instead. There is one final thing I'd like to address though. It may sound like my life is going great, everything's perfect. Any video like this, it normally sounds like that, but realize people don't include the hard parts. My life isn't perfect right now. I've got lots of struggles going on, and I don't bring them up, for one, because it makes the video less exciting, less happy. And I try to keep my videos fun, but also because a lot of problems are personal and just aren't going to be brought up on a day-to-day basis. So whenever you're watching a video like this, don't take everything with a grain of salt. Not everything is perfect in their life. Don't compare it to yours. Because there's going to be differences, there's going to be things that I have that you don't, and vice versa. Just realize, I don't know, our lives aren't the same. You're living yours, I'm living mine, and enjoy what you have. I don't really know where I'm going with this, so I'm going to lead back into fun stuff. One last fun story before I go. What should I do? How about this? How about I tell you one of my favorite jokes as a child? It goes, what is red and green and goes 90 miles an hour? And the first time my dad asked me this, I was confused. I'm like, red and green. Maybe like a vehicle, some sort of flying vehicle. And he says, a frog in a blender.